What's going on, everybody? Ryan Miner here of the Absolute Auction Podcast, and I'm excited to bring you 3 quarterbacks I am buying in Dynasty Auction Startup Leagues. Now, these values are based on $200 startups, so without further ado, let's get started. My first one, and this is one I've kind of always been hesitant on, especially the last couple of years where I was like, proved it wrong. But the value's gotten too low, and I cannot pass it up, and I'm actually buying Trevor Lawrence at $20. Now, when I say Trevor Lawrence at $20, this is a AAV or average auction value that I've compiled from multiple drafts. So he's been as high as say 23, as low as 15, 16. So there's a range of these players. I'm just giving you the average value that I've come across and putting these values together. Trevor Lawrence at $20 is a smash buy for me. Now, Lawrence had an awful 2024 season. He finished as a QB 27. So what can we say? He can only go up from here, right? It's kind of hard to go any further down. You paid the guy, $55 million a year. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. He's got to bounce back here. One nice thing is the hiring of offensive coordinator from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Liam Cohen, as the head coach. Now, that offense will be coming over. It was a fast-paced offense. Maybe this will be take Trevor Lawrence back to that promised land that we saw in year 2 from him, and also help boost Brian Thomas Jr., who actually looks like a very promising wide receiver. I love the mindset that Cohen has, and for as low as Lawrence is right now, I'm buying everywhere I can. If he hits 21, 22, I'd still be willing to buy, but if he goes any lower, that's another smash. Speaking of Liam Cohen, I'm going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this, and I'm going with Cohen's quarterback in Baker Mayfield here at $19. Now, I don't understand what gives here. Baker Mayfield had a hell of a season. He finished as a QB4, and getting him at this startup price just seems nuts. I mean, that's a high end. You're getting a high end QB2 for basically a borderline back end QB2 price. So I don't understand what's going on. Yes, you lost Liam Cohen, but the Bucs also promoted within and took the passing game coordinator and promoted him up to offensive coordinator here. And I'm talking about Josh Gizzard, who worked extensively with Liam Cohen during his time there. So I can see the high volume and quick pace offense continuing on. Not to mention, you still have Mike Evans there. Jalen McMillan is promising and looking, to improve from year to year 2. And we also have the possible return of Chris Godwin. Now, we're still waiting to hear what the contract details are at this time. We don't know. He could also hit free agency. Could go back with Trevor Lawrence and pair up with Liam Cohen there in Jacksonville, but I see him coming back. Plus, there's no reason to hate Baker Mayfield. He turns 30 this next month. And then my final quarterback, one quarterback who in my redraft when back during the summer, I was kind of saying him as a deep sleeper, basically someone who was kind of borderline off most teams, but that's redraft. This is Dynasty, and I'm talking about Bryce Young at $16. Now, the Bryce Young we saw at the beginning of the season was a lot different than the one we saw at the end of the season. The Bryce Young at the beginning of the season was very similar to the 2023 season, where he was just off his game, didn't look like that number 1 overall prospect. It was a total disaster. They ended up benching him this year for a few games. The veteran presence of Andy Dalton ahead of him kind of helped him look like relearn the game, understand it. Plus, Andy Dalton signed a nice veteran contract there, so we have a nice backup there for Bryce Young. But why I like Bryce Young is from week 13 through the end of the season, he was the QB6. If he could pick up that same pace right where he left off at, this guy is going to be an awesome smash, awesome hit. Get him as a solid QB2 for your teams if you can, and I like a lot. Well, that's going to do it for being here, guys. Thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you guys soon.